Suddenly, the War Powers Resolution is the most important document in Washington, D.C., right? If you watch the news today, you'd think a targeted strike against a terrorist leader is a high crime against the Constitution. But I have a very specific memory, and I'm showing you exactly what I'm seeing right here. I seem to remember one of these guys pictured is a Nobel Peace Prize winner, the guy that dropped 26,000 bombs in a single year. I remember drone strikes in 7 different countries. And you know what I don't remember? I don't remember these same reporters screaming about congressional approval back then. So what changed? The law didn't change. The definition of imminent threat didn't change. The only thing that changed is the target of their obsession. Today, we're digging up the receipts that the media desperately hopes you forgot. Let's get into it. Welcome back to The Briefing. I'm Ben Dykes, retired United States Navy. We're going to take a trip down memory lane. President Obama, the year 2011, the location in Libya, the Obama administration decides to engage in kinetic military action. Did they ask for permission first? Hell no. In fact, when they were asked about the War Powers Resolution, which requires the president to stop hostilities after 60 days if Congress hasn't approved it, the administration got creative. They argued that dropping bombs wasn't actually hostilities. I'm not joking, guys. They told Congress that because we were using drones and airstrikes and no American boots were on the ground getting shot at, it didn't count as war. We're 3 days into the Operation Epic Fury in Iran. 3 days. And they're already calling to impeach the president because he didn't ask Congress for approval. But in 2011, the media's response was polite debate. Is it legal? Is it not? Is it complicated? Fast forward to January 20. President Trump orders a strike on Qasem Soleimani. Now, Soleimani wasn't some dude delivering pizzas. He was a designated terrorist orchestrating attacks on American embassies and service members, an actual imminent threat. But suddenly the War Powers Resolution wasn't a complicated legal nuance. It was a sacred text. Nancy Pelosi passed a resolution to limit the president's military actions. The media cycle was 24/7 coverage of the imperial presidency. Do you see the game yet? When their guy is in office, the commander-in-chief has broad, flexible powers to protect American interests. The Constitution is a living, breathing document that evolves with the times. When the other guy, President Trump, is in office, well, then it's a reality check. And here's the veteran's reality check. I spent 20 years in the Navy. When you're operating in a hostile environment, you do not have time for a Senate subcommittee to leak information to the media before you defend your ship or your squad. The War Powers Resolution was designated to prevent long-term Vietnam-style engagements. And I'll just tell you a little something here. The last time Congress signed off and approved war was 1942. And I know there's some veterans out there that will say we should have never won World War II, but I'm going to disagree with that. The hypocrisy isn't that they disagree with the strike. You can disagree with the strategy. That's fine. The hypocrisy is pretending that the law has changed just because the president has changed. Now, let's jump right into this. I'm going to take you down a little trip down memory lane. Some of it's going to be painful.
When you get the respect of the other countries, then the other countries tend to do a little bit as you do, and you can create the right attitudes. The Iranian situation is a case in point. That they hold our hostages is just absolutely and totally ridiculous. That this country sits back and allows a country such as Iran to hold our hostages, to my way of thinking, is a horror. And I don't think they'd do it with other countries. I honestly don't think they'd do it with other countries.
Obviously, you're advocating that we should have gone in there with troops, etc., and brought our boys out.
I absolutely feel that, yes. I don't think there's any question, and there's no question in my mind. I think right now would be an oil-rich nation, and I believe that we should have done it, and I'm very disappointed that we didn't do it, and I don't think anybody would have held us in abeyance. I don't think anybody would have been angry with us, and we had every right to do it at the time.
So this is President Trump speaking in 1980 after, or maybe it's 1981, after Iran held 55 American hostages for 444 days during the Carter administration. Carter was a loser, an utter failure, and sadly, a lot of Americans were held there against their will. Some say that they were abused. I don't know that for a fact. But what has changed since then? Well, we've got a president now that is pictured here in this video that is not waiting for Americans to be held hostage. He is putting, warheads to foreheads. And I'll bring this back. This is a clip of Barack Hussein Obama talking about the actions that he took.
Everybody, today I authorized the Armed Forces of the United States to begin a limited military action in Libya.
So there's Libya. We came, we saw, he died. You remember that clip from Hillary? I don't want to play it. It makes sick to the stomach. Here's more hypocrisy. This is being exposed by Fox News.
Without a doubt, constitutional and within the bounds of his power. The Obama administration, many sources are saying, dropped more than 26,000 bombs in 7 countries. You can take a look at that. The Council on Foreign Relations, so this is one that says that estimate is undoubtedly low because reliable data are only available for the airstrikes in Pakistan, Yemen, Somalia, and Libya. And of course, there was a war going on in Afghanistan, so they didn't even count that. Additionally, a single strike, according to...
Look at the amount of bombs that Obama dropped. Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Pakistan, Somalia, Yemen. None in Iran, but he did send a plane full of cash, about $1.7 billion.
The Pentagon's definition can involve multiple bombs or munitions. We should note, again, we were at war someplace. Senator, Afghanistan.
Yes, absolutely, Harris, and all this big talk coming from the Democrats. We are not in an offensive war.
We're not in an offensive war. No boots on the ground. Let me show you this one. I bombed the S out of targets in Iraq, Syria, Pakistan, Yemen, and Somalia. 3,500 big ones, all without congressional approval. You like that? I love the hypocrisy. Here's a little clip, another one. Fox News is all over this.
Doesn't have the legal authority to do this. He needs to come to Congress. Well, remember when President Obama bombed Libya back in 2011, and on June the 16th, Nancy Pelosi was asked this. Listen here.
Madam Leader, you're saying that the president did not need authorization initially and still does not need any authorization from Congress on Libya?
Yes.
Thank you both.
Thank you all very much.
All right, but now suddenly he does.
Of course. Well,
He doesn't have the legal authority to do this.
Suddenly he does. You know why? Because it's Trump, orange man bad. The Trump derangement syndrome has infected everyone from the lowest level blue-haired liberal on the street to what I would say the highest levels in Congress.
So, Madam Speaker, Madam Leader, you're saying that the president did not need authorization initially and still does not need any authorization from Congress on Libya?
Yes.
Thank you both.
One word answer and she's out of there. You've got to love Nancy. Now, Marco Rubio was confronted today on his actions, and I love his response. He goes after these people. He is not playing games. This guy is as presidential as it gets right.
And I want
to say something because I see people on TV. Look, that's fine. If they want to take a war powers vote, they can do that. They've done that. They've done that a bunch of times. But people keep saying that there's no law that requires the president to have done anything with regards to this. To begin with, no presidential administration has ever accepted the War Powers Act as constitutional. Not Republican presidents, not Democratic presidents. That said, we have followed the notification at 48 hours. We're here today. I've done more Gang of Eight briefings than I got in the 4 years that Biden was president and I was a member of the Gang of Eight. All of that said, we've complied with the law 100%. And we're going to continue to comply with it. We've done the notification, and we officially to Congress, but we did notify members of Congress. We just can't notify 535 people. That's not possible, but we did the Gang of Eight twice. I briefed them last week, and then I called them the night before the operation.
Honestly think if they would have told 535 members of Congress that some of them would not have leaked the information to the Ayatollah, would have given them, I would imagine some of these members of Congress have the Ayatollah Khomeini's number in their phone. And you know exactly who I'm talking about with the squad. AOC, Rashida Tlaib, and Ilhan Omar. Probably got them on speed dial. Her brother's probably in paradise waiting for him. This is an X post from Ilhan Omar on February the 26th. She says, Iraq was attacked by the United States during Ramadan. And it's sickening now to know that the U.S. is again going to attack Iran during Ramadan. The U.S. apparently loves to strike Muslim countries during Ramadan. The last time I checked, the United States was built on In God We Trust. And I don't care what holiday that these people are celebrating. But the little date, February 26th, is a couple of days prior to the actual operation. Did Ilhan Omar warn Iran before our attack? Is that what she was planning to do? Is that what she did with this X post? Because if that's the case, you better investigate her and you better throw her out of the country that she hates so much. If you're sick of the double standards, hit that like and subscribe button. We cut through the noise right here. This is the brief. Ben Dykes, retired from the United States Navy. Thank you for watching. We're coming for justice, and we want to share as much information as we can on our way. But once you start seeing the hypocrisy, you can't look away. There's a double standard. There's a Trump standard, and then there's a Democrat standard. Thanks for watching.